finding me. That's so awesome. Thanks for finding me.
We'll thank the God, the universe, all that is, source, spirit,
Yeah.
whatever we. I've had a
Yeah.
story since I started this that is very easy to attract awesome guests, and I know it as soon as I see someone's like page or even on Instagram. It's just like people pop up in my attention, and I reach out immediately. So you're one of those. Um,
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to hit record on here. Guys that are streaming this already, I'm going to go live on Instagram. You guys can join us over there also if you want to. So recording here. Okay, Baljit. So when I go live on Instagram, so we don't hear sound coming out of two places, don't mute Zoom on your computer, but if you mute the sound coming out of your computer, so that we'll just hear the sound coming out of our phones. So we just have sound coming from one place. You on a Mac?
Oh, mute the sound on my computer, but not the Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you don't hear anything
Got
coming
it.
out of your computer speakers.
All right, I'll do that now.
All right. I'm live on Instagram now. All right. So if you want to join me on Instagram, I'm live on. You coming? Hey guys, getting ready to do a live enlightened conversation here. I'm live on it. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Getting ready to do a live enlightened conversation here. Hello, hello. Good day, good day. All right. View, go live. Cool. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. All right. Hello, hello.
Hello.
All right. So I'm going to tag you so that they know who I am talking to. And if you guys have questions, you guys can put them in the little question box at the bottom. Lotus Destiny. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys, we are going to begin. As soon as I can spell this correctly. All right. Ask questions if inspired. Cool. All right, let's begin. Whoops. That's not what I wanted to write. Let me disregard the crying face. Disregard it. Disregard the crying face on there at the beginning. That makes me want to write that again. So good. Oh my gosh. I don't like that crying face at the end. It makes me seem like I was joking. It was supposed to be three of the little stars, not anything else.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rewrite that. Ask questions if inspired. It doesn't even let me delete my own comments.
Really?
Okay. Some of you out there have the power. Delete my comment. All right, let's begin. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Excited for today and have an awesome guest with us who is up in the Canada area. I think you said you were in British Columbia. We have about I love Canada. I love it up there in the summer and the spring. It's a little bit cold where you are for me in the winter time. However, still beautiful nature up there. Just bring your coat. But we have Baljit with us, who is a visionary, and she helps activate other visionaries and innovators and entrepreneurs to be able to step into their power and be who they truly are and make the impact that they want to make here on this planet. And I came across her Instagram page just maybe a week or two ago, maybe, and immediately saw the love that she was sharing with her audience and asked her if she wanted to have a fun conversation with me and share some vibes with you guys. So that's what we're going to do now. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Baljit. And if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all these good things.
I actually come from a background of being in the corporate industry. I'm an architectural technologist and decided to leave that industry to become an intuitive mentor to help people connect to their gifts and their talents. Do that through doing readings through the Akashic Records. And I also channel these sacred geometric images where I can tap into one's purpose and their gifts and learn how to express that. So really helping people really come back to their own power and really discover what their gifts are and how to express that.
I love it. You just sparked in my mind how I went down because I don't always know how I stumble upon people's pages. I take it all as synchronicity, which obviously it always is. But I was looking at different people that were doing Akashic record reading, and that's been something that I find I love it. It's fun to introduce that to the audience because it's just a really cool part of life when we discover what that's all about. I want to touch on that, but before I do, and you might even weave that into what I'm going to ask you now.
Yeah.
I know, Baljit, as you do, we all come here as little unconditional, loving little babies, and then for a time, most of us forget who we truly are, and maybe when we're young and we, comparing ourselves, and then it's always my hope that the light bulb comes back on and we can remember, and then life is just a forever evolving journey for all of us here. And so, how did that look for you? Did you go from like unconditional, loving little baby to poof, what we see here today, never forgot who you are, or did it look a little bit, did it look different than that?
You know what? When we're all born, like before we even, like when we're in our mother's womb, we are pure unconditional love. But as soon as we enter our mother's womb, that's when programming begins. It's like we take on programming from our parents, from our ancestors, cultural programming, religious programming. So it literally starts to seep into our subconsciousness before we're even physically born. And then when we're physically born, we get even more programmed. For myself, personally, I was raised in a very strict East Indian upbringing. And the city that I was living in, I was like, there was very few colored people as well. So I experienced a lot of racism and a feeling of always being left out as well. And then along with feeling left out at home, always feeling like I was different from my family. So what ended up happening was I a panic disorder and was suffering through depression and was even suicidal. I wasn't too sure if I wanted to be here because I didn't feel like I belonged. I didn't feel like I belonged in my culture, nor did I feel like I actually belonged here on this planet. And I was like, what's my purpose? I've studied architecture. I'm living the high Sex in the City life. I was living at the time, making really good money. And I would say my last panic attack, mind you, I was also raving, so I thought, well, maybe I'll just do lots of drugs and rave and find, whatever that is. And what I realized is that I just wanted to connect with Source, with God or whatever that thing was, like this oneness, and I couldn't connect with it. And I really wanted to find out what my mission was, and I had no idea. So my last breakdown of having like a major panic attack, it was my first time that I sat on my balcony and I had my first conversation, like conscious conversation with God. And I remember writing it down and being like, okay, God, you tell me, do you want me here or do you want me to live? If you want me to live, tell me what I need to do. And just through asking that, declaring that to the universe, the very next day, I started to listen to my intuition. I didn't really understand, what intuition was or energy, but I listened, and I started to research energy medicine on the internet. So long story short, I came across a homeopathic doctor that supported through healing the panic attacks, and I started to understand my emotions and connect my mental body with my emotional body and my physical body. I didn't realize I was so disconnected. And then I came across the Akashic Records. So for those of you that don't know what the Akashic Records are, the Akashic Records is the record of your soul. It records every word, thought, action, event. And when we access the Akashic Records, you can learn how to become an empowered participant in life. So if you're struggling through relationship or just not knowing what your purpose is, whatever it may be, access your very own Akashic records and ask what the block is and make that shift on a subconscious level. When I learned the Akashic records, like, this really changed my life because I was open to a lot of psychics. I wanted the psychics to tell me my future. But the reality is that we have free will, and we could choose the least choice path, the most choice path, or the mediocre path. And one of the biggest things that I learned, it was like, wow, I need to take personal responsibility for my shifts. So I do that. And that led me to records. And then from there, living two different lives in the corporate industry and architecture, and then also doing healings on the side. So by 2009, I decided to take a big leap and go full-time as an intuitor and left the corporate industry.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing like you just shared, because it's such a great reminder for all of us. And it's so funny when I ask that question, I think everybody's the same response when I say, did you go from unconditional loving baby to poof, where we are? Everybody laughs. Like I said, and I try to say it with as straight of a face as possible so that I could get the best reaction, which you did great. But I love how you started that with, not knowing that if you wanted to be here or not. And then just a great reminder for all of us how we can ask God, ask the universe, whatever you resonate with out there, that question or any question, and just know that that answer will show up. And in your case, very quickly. But you were paying attention, like you mentioned, starting to trust your intuition. And I love reminding all of us out there that we can all do that. Just ongoing. Anytime we can ask questions and then just be open to the answer finding us anytime, anywhere, from anyone, in any way, when we're ready to receive it. And it might be right away, or it might be whenever. But when you're ready, it will definitely come. So I love that great reminder for all of us. So for you, like now that you've kind of had this aha moment for you, because I'm always curious, did you just know? When did you know that you wanted to help other people discover this for themselves and get on the path? Because I was in corporate America once upon a time too, and for those that know fully who we truly are, if you're working in a corporate America and it's anything other than something that you're like lit up to go do, there's a disconnect there, because when you know who you truly are and you know that you can go create whatever it is that you desire, to go do anything that you don't really desire, there's going to be a slight pull there. Not that we can't find things to appreciate about what we're doing now. At the same time, the end all be all, that's not where we probably want to stay. So I've been there where you described as well.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I always think whatever we've done in the past, or even current jobs with people that are working, is that these are toolkits, and architecture was such a big toolkit for me. It gave me a hint of what I was meant to be doing, in this incarnation. And what I was doing in architecture was studying the blueprint, creating blueprints for buildings. And what I do now is create blueprints, or study the blueprint of an actual soul, of a person. And we're so different. So how I discovered like my purpose, exactly what it is that I'm meant to doing, is I listen to the hints of like what I'm so passionate about. And I feel like it's so easy, like a cookie cutter step. If someone is like, oh, I should be a coach because everyone else is a coach. It's like, no, like, what is it that you're so passionate about? So my thing was, I love seeing transformation. I love seeing people come back to their power. My thing is about, learning how to be sovereign in your energy and learning how to liberate yourself. So how does that look like? What kind of tools can we use to create that? So the Akashic Records was it was like a homecoming for me. And I still use it. I teach it. It's been a homecoming because it's been a constant reminder of like, oh, this is the direction that I need to go, and this is what I need to do. So that played a key role of knowing exactly what it is, step by step, of how to express that. And your intuition is like big thing. Like yourself, how you contacted me was just your spidey sense was like, I need to contact Baljit, you know. The other thing too is I feel that, you know, it's interesting, like really learning how to connect to your gifts is important. So DJing is the other thing that I do as well, and I'm learning how to with what I'm currently doing the healing. So I feel like there's a shift as well with how we're really learning how to express, you know, our mission on this planet. I hope I explained that clearly. So.
You did, and you touched on, which I want to further drive home for. There was a question that I saw as far as how do we know it's our intuition that we're hearing, and really, you know, for me, it's just knowing what frequency I'm in, what energy I'm in the moment, knowing where that intuition, that God energy, that source energy, where that is, and where that's not is in a frustrated or a worried or an anxiety or an upset or a rage. That's where it's not. Where it is, it's in a peace, it's in a calm, it's in a love, it's in a whatever you want to describe it, where you're feeling good, you're feeling in tune. That's where that intuition is coming from. And when you know that that's your frequency in this present moment, you can trust all of those thoughts that are popping in your mind, the words that you're speaking or a reflection of those thoughts. Like, you can take inspired action, like Baljit mentioned when I reached out to her. It's very simple. Like, there's not like a long deliberation process when I'm inviting someone to vibe with me on these. It's like, oh, like it's literally, typically they've posted something recently that's brought them into my attention. And I'm like, oh my God, I can feel the energy of that post. So I'm like, well, we're going to definitely play at that energy, and we're going to see how much the energy can increase in momentum, and our intention is going to be to empower the audience. So it's just awesome. It's very easy to take inspired action when we know what energy that we're in. So would you answer that did you add anything to, like, how do we know it's intuition?
You know, it's like, because I get a lot of people that have taken a ton of courses or have done so many things, and they're like, I don't know where to go next, right? So that's why I do the soul blueprints, because I can like get very specific information about someone, whether if they need to write a book, or it's like we actually all know secretly what we really, really want to do, but because all the external programming we've taken on, there is a deep fear of someone that it's like, what's going to happen if I create this book? What's going to happen if I, you know, speak up and I'm speaking out on stage and talking about a certain topic? So it has to do doing your own inner work and unveiling a lot of things that don't serve you, so that you can really come to your own truth. And then from there, you take action, and it'll be very, very quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. When it's from that inspired place, like, there's not much that will stop you from taking the action. A lot of people worry about, are they taking enough action? And, you know, my response to that is, if you're still questioning whether to take action or not, if you probably don't have as much clarity as you need to really move forward in a powerful way. Like, you're still questioning, do I want to go this way or do I want to go this way? Which, great news for all of us. The way that we gain additional clarity in life is by additional life experiences. So again, going back to asking the questions, like, you know, which direction, you know, is it that it will be a great direction for me to go? And then being able to receive those answers when we're ready for them, and just keep living life present in the moment, which all those things that we want to create in the future, you're going to create them now and now and now anyways. So just get back to being in the now, and then that's where the answer will find you, and then you'll take the action when you're ready. So I get that a lot. A lot of people are worried.
That's so simple, though.
I know, right? Easier said than done. That's why I always bring it back to the now, because if I had to think about all the things that I need to do, like today, tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day, when we get there, it'll still be now. So I'm hyper focused.
Exactly.
This used to be my greatest weakness at a time. So this is why a decade later it's turned into my greatest strength, because I noticed it. I became aware of it. This is why these conversations are fun, because this will bring more awareness to, you know, everyone in areas that matter to you. And then once we're aware, now we have the power of choice. And the power of choice, then it becomes, well, what are you going to choose? And are you going to continue practicing choosing that which will serve you? So I love it. Lots of good questions popping up here.
That was where I was going to say, like, that's why I had the panic disorder. So I was always worried about the future of what other think. So I always joke around and say I used to be a certified people pleaser. Like, I didn't have any healthy boundaries whatsoever. And I feel like when we learn to trust our intuition and honor that, like really honor our truth, then we can naturally create healthy boundaries. And then we are more present now. We're of like, okay, here I am. These are the steps that I'm going to take instead of always thinking about the future.
I love it. I love it. Can you hit on a little bit, because you've shown it to us a couple of times, the sacred geometry blueprint that you do? Like, what's that look like when people come work with you, or how do you utilize that? Like, I'm super curious, and that's beautiful.
Yeah. So how this actually came about, while I was working in architecture, and I was still like doing readings on the side and everything, I was working on a site plan one day, and this was like back in 2008. And while I was doing that, I just started channeling. And my coworker next to me was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I don't know," but I felt the energy. I just felt a homecoming as well. So I worked on it all through lunch. I sent it at home, these drawings, these sacred geometric drawings. I had no idea what they were. And as soon as I printed it out, I felt this euphoric ecstasy. And I was like, oh, I'm like, what is this? So I did a future progression to meet future self. That's what it is. I was told that these are called soul food. And it's basically an expression of your soul in sacred geometry that gives specific information of yourself and deprograms anything that's not of you. So each soul blueprint for a person is different. I also do generic ones where I do webinars and just done like a whole group healing, and there's like a collective theme. So maybe we're working on abundance or self-love, like different things to help people deprogram things that don't serve them. What started to happen around 2011 when I was doing these generic ones was people were wanting personalized blueprints, and I was like, okay. And when I started doing them, I was like, wow, I'm actually getting very specific information person. For example, and I love sharing this story, but I had this one woman from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. How I start off is I always ask a simple question because I just want to see where someone's at. She was like, yeah, I want to open up a healing center with lots of healers. And I was like, okay. She's in corporate. But I thought, wow, it's interesting. She's not really talking about herself. She's talking about what she wants to do for other people. Like, there's something missing. And I give it a week. So I still use an architectural program. And it usually goes about their day. And I'm connecting to their higher self. And their higher self is communicating with my higher self. And so I don't talk to anybody because there's just no interferences and I can just channel it. But I can actually clairvoyantly see the sacred geometric image. And then through that, I get very specific information about a person. So for her, for example, I was like, oh, she's supposed to chocolate line with flower eyes. And this alchemist archetype and this magician archetype. I'm like, why is she avoiding that? So I sent it to her, and we had a follow-up call. She just started crying, and she's got this adorable, like, strong French accent. She's like, oh my God, how the fuck do you know I like chocolate? She's just bawling her eyes out. And she's like, that's my deepest secret. And I said, well, why are you avoiding that? And she goes, you know, we went deeper, so we used the Akashic Records. And what it was is that it has a very similar type. And while they were up, he misused, you know, his energy with stealing. And he was sent to jail for 11 years. So she made it in her mind that if I connect to that gift, I'm going to do more harm than I am going to do good. So she avoided herself at all costs. And when she realized that, within like 3 months, she became a certified chocolatier. She didn't quit her job. She realized she didn't want to become a coach or another kind of healer. She studied cacao. She went to learn more cacao. She actually found someone that works with flower essences specifically. And now she's on a journey of creating her own chocolate line. So the template. For some people, it's like surprising. They're like, wow, I didn't know I was supposed to write a book. Or, but yet they kind of felt it or never thought that they would be a writer, you know? For some, maybe they're meant to hold retreats, and that's been their biggest thing. And so we're working with gifts of like how to combine your purpose with your gifts in this incarnation. So that's the process. Yeah.
I love that. You guys, I know I'm already going to promote. You guys definitely want to connect with Baljit. I think I want to do one of those with you, Baljit. I love just how it all visually comes out. That's beautiful. And that must feel really, really amazing. I know it does, because anytime we're flowing that type of energy that Baljit just described and channeling, and then her being able to clairvoyantly see that, it's got to feel so good and powerful coming through you. And to be able to light someone up, like you just mentioned in that example, that's awesome. You guys definitely connect with Baljit for your own individual. I'm already offering this, but I'm sure that this is an offer that you're giving as well. I'm like offering it for you. I hope that you offer this to people still.
Anything to bring people in their power, for sure.
I love it.
It is a humbling thing. How I'm connecting to that is when I'm on it, it's late at night. And when I complete is that I'll actually it's tears in my eyes. I'll start to cry a little bit. Feel the soul at its pure self, and I'm like, okay, it's time to send it to them. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I want to shift it because you mentioned it, but it's such a passion of mine that, and it's a passion of yours. You mentioned being a DJ. You're producing frequencies, like actual music. Is that what you're doing? You're making the music yourself. It's like, or is that?
So that's on the list of producing. I'm just learning how to produce for now.
Okay.
I learned DJ back in 2000, and it was actually through an ex-boyfriend, and then I went to DJ school in 2013. And I was brought to the awareness around Dr. David R. Hawkins' Power versus Force. So he talks about the different levels of consciousness. So what I kind of muscle test when I make a DJ mix, I muscle test the levels of consciousness with the songs. And so if they're, about 200, 210 then I'll include them in the mix. So I just intuit the frequency of the song. I can usually tell if something feels like my energy's dropped, or I'm leaking energy, or like off. And it's so fascinating doing the intuitive work with the Akashic Records, because I can actually tell when in the song what kind of mood that they were in, because that gets into the song. And as we know, like if we look at the music industry, there's tons of different things that get embedded into songs. So my intention is to create experiences and DJ sets that have high level frequencies, that have a high vibration. I haven't had a chance to explore, the 432 hertz and all those higher hertz as well, which is a thing that I'd like to do next. But yeah, I didn't know you DJ. This is awesome.
No, I didn't say I did, but I would describe music the same way that you just did. I can feel the frequency when so I have playlists that, on Spotify that are like labeled high vibe and euphoria and like these things, and like I'm just feeling frequency, and like all of a sudden and they start to know, these algorithms start to know what you like, so they'll share a song with me that is from a DJ that I've never heard of, from a place that I've never been, and I'm like, what is this? And I just will feel it, like my frequency is rising. So I love knowing that about music, and how you describe it is beautiful. That's how I describe it to people as well. I can feel the mood that someone was in when they're creating it. And for DJs and musicians that have transitioned, every time one transitions that is like caused my frequency to raise in any way, shape, or form in my human experience, like I always send so much gratitude to them, because I don't take that for granted at all. Like if you're doing something out there and like you're raising like my frequency as a result of what you're putting out there, because your frequency was just this powerful like passion as you're creating, you're uplifting so many people, and like, so yeah, that's a side note for music. I had to hit on that.
Music unites, it's beyond words sometimes, and sometimes we really together from all around the world and connect. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm gonna answer a couple of the. I'm gonna ask a couple of these questions on here. I like a few of the questions that you guys asked. Tania wants to know. I hear this a lot, and I'll share something after Baljit does. But what do you do in the moments of frustration and when bad energy comes at you? How do you get to that calm place to think clearly?
Mm-hmm. So if I start to feel any like negative energy, I stop everything and I just check in with myself and I ask myself intuitively, is this my stuff or is this someone else's stuff? Sometimes we can just subconsciously take on stuff, like either we just walk into, a store and we come out feeling like really awful. So if you're an empath, I feel that you are, is that you might be observing a lot of people's energy. So let's just say if it is that you're observing people's energy, then you want to find ways. I just declare, say, whatever's not mine, please release this now. Whatever's not mine, please release this now. And I really just take a moment to put down the phone or just whatever and just be with myself. And I love going out in nature. I love just going for walks. Again, playing music just to help lift up my moods. Take bath. I'll do physically to move energy. Sometimes you might have stagnant as well. So maybe meditating is not going to work for you, and maybe you actually move your body and actually feel those emotions. Maybe you actually have to feel whatever's coming up for you.
So great. I love their answer so much. And the fact that you're even, Tanya, the fact that you're even aware of this and that you're paying attention to it, I always love to remind us that takes us like 99% of the way there. And the 1% is what we choose in the moment. And so the fact that you're even noticing that your energy feels a certain way, it's awesome because when you ask that question that Baljit just said, like whatever's mine, like let it be released, or questions like that, just that awareness. If we were to measure your frequency, because I'm sure once you say that, you probably would, which I would suggest, probably take a deep breath and let it go. You're probably in a letting go energy right there, which if we were to measure your frequency, it's rising every time that you do that. Like if you say questions like that or statements like that, affirmations like that, and then you release, like your frequency is rising. When she mentioned music, that's why I wanted to hit on the music, like the things that we know how to do that also raise our frequency. The great thing to know is that our energy is never, like our energy is always, well, I like what you said also, to move the energy. But it's just good to pay attention to which direction our energy is going. Like if we leave a store and we're like feeling worse than we went in there, then it's great to notice that. And then, we know what we can do to allow our energy to go back to where we like it to be, to release. Like I like to just think of it as like a release. And that release is going to leave me at peace, how you mentioned, or calm that you mentioned. That's what happens after I release is I'm back at calm, at peace. So I love that. Really, really good. Really good. Okay, there was another question here that I want to hit on. If you guys have questions, put them here. I think I saw another one, but maybe I didn't see one. Anyways, I'm gonna ask Baljit another question because I love knowing this. And so with everything that you're focused on right now, and as we live more life experience, like our vision for our lives and for what we're creating and what we want to see in humanity, for those of us that are thinking about that, always evolves with those life experiences. So I ask you this a year from now, you have another year of life experience. So this will be, an evolved version of what you share with us now. What's your vision right now as far as what you're focused on and what you are seeing evolve in your life, or what you're creating, or for humanity, or anything that is inspired out of you from that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. For myself personally, I see myself having a product I'm working on and with the soul blueprint so that people can wear them, and also creating a eco fashion line where it's the fabrics are from upscale or recycled like fabrics. One of the biggest things that I've been really looking into is around human and sex trafficking, and also human trafficking in the garment industry that we don't even realize exists. And sometimes the clothes that we wear, whatever it's made from, kids, or just adults are barely getting by. And I think we're really going to evolve on so many things. So that's a big thing that's just going to naturally shift and evolve. There's also, I've been working on creating dome events. So dome events in the planetarium, so in the Stardome, where I've led a transformational experience with ambient and electronic music, the sacred geometry, and meditation. So the next thing is to facilitate like transformational dance dome events, and there's been a lot of people who've been feeling the same thing. And lately, it's just wild. I've been in communication with a few people that are currently looking into the land to create almost like an eco-village type, and I've been involved in quite a few projects, and I even done like an architectural drawing. So I have another woman that I'm working with who's in my mastermind, and she's an architect, and she's really into sacred architecture. So we just started geeking out a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, I want to bring in the sacred geometry on the land. So I see where we're going to collect is how we're living. It's going to be different. How we're building our homes, how we're honoring the land, how we are honoring each other. It just feels we are really deprogramming collectively of how we're showing and how to create unity. So we're really going into this different way of like living. So that's what I'm foreseeing.
I love it, and I'll hit on a couple of things that you just shared. Definitely, please make the pendant, like products, the pendant of that soul blueprint would be dope. In fact, I'm going to share someone that I interviewed on the podcast yesterday. He wears a pendant, and I don't know if it's sacred geometry or not. I can't see it in my mind right now, but it might inspire you as far as like, I'll just send it to you just because I'm inspired to. You guys have already noticed with me, I act on inspired action very quickly. So this is already coming your way. I'll share a story with you. But yeah, that would be dope. In fact, I would want one of those because that would be really, really cool. And I love what you just described there at the end, because you're highlighting again, and it's just again a great reminder for all of us how we can ask questions to God, to the universe, as far as what it is that we would like to see evolve on this planet or in our own lives or in whatever. And then start to see those answers unfold to where, now Baljit is attracting people that also want to see. When she was describing the sacred geometry on the land, like this is something that she has decided that she wants to see. And I'm fascinated. Like we all have different things because of our life experience. And I see lots of really cool things that is another great reminder for all of us. Things that we're doing in life maybe 5 years ago, a year ago, 10 years ago, that we don't even realize how much we're going to be using it today. Like everything that you've mentioned architecture so many times in this conversation, and it's it helps you draw the drawings that you draw. Like you see things clairvoyantly that a lot of us that don't have that life experience wouldn't really see that way because we don't have that life experience. So just great reminder to really fully embrace everything that we're involved in now, because you have no idea what you'll be utilizing that for as you continue on in your journey.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I created this site plan for this sanctuary that was supposed to be built in Kenya. Like I was connected with an architect. This is back in 2011. So I recently just pulled it all this week, had a look at it, and the write-up of the intention was like, wow, like, this is for the children. Like this is for the next generation of how we're going to teach children. The school systems are going to change. And it was just everything that I was doing, like even 10 years ago, and I guarantee the people that are watching will probably go back and be like, oh yeah, like there's some things that I've, done, and it actually has to do with what's happening. Like like nothing, it's even jobs too, like they are all toolkits. We're all in preparation,
Absolutely. I'm using everything that I'm doing currently. If I hadn't have done things like literally, I could think of things 12 years ago that I was doing that if I wouldn't have done those things or started on the path of those things, which those things were just answers to questions then of how can I be, more free? How can I get out of this type of job? And like that led to that. But it wasn't really, I thought it was just to give me the freedom that I was asking for. but it was really for that answer and for what I'm doing now, 12 years later. So it's just, there's so many, we won't know the full, like, story until the whole story is completed. And then that's only the story of this life experience. And then there's more with the Akashic records.
Now we're storytellers. We're creating the story.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Well, if you guys have any more questions, I highly recommend that you ask. But I just want to know from you, Baljit, anything that, because someone can watch this, 20, 30, 40 years from now. I love that the internet will continue to exist. And just anything that you maybe have been sharing with yourself a lot or with others a lot, and you've been doing it the whole time, but anything that you want to make sure that people, know, like, this is something that I feel will be really impactful for you. It could be anything.
Yeah, I would say, this applies to now and for the future, but I also feel like it's really important to just really trust your intuition. There's so much, even with social media, we're constantly being bombarded with so many things. It can create a lot of confusion of what's truth and what's not truth. So really honor to take time for self-care, take time to go in and just sit with yourself. Whether it's to be in nature, is going to be such a big thing that we really need to connect with to know what to do next. And it's priority, really take the time to go within before you go out. If you go out without going in, you're going to deplete yourself. You're going to feel very confused and scattered and ungrounded. And we have been taught that way through societal programming to always go out and forget about going within. And I feel like during these times, we're now starting to remember, we need to go within. A lot of people are shifting relationships or realizing that they want to start a project or realizing they want to leave their job. So this is going to be a continuation. Anyway, always go in before you go out.
So important. I'm so happy that you mentioned that. And in fact, a lot of times as human beings, and I've been here, I'm sure we've all been here, we think we may not have time for the self-care or for the meditation, or, we may use that excuse. And, really, I don't believe we have time not to. It's just kind of that for me is number one, because the impact that I can make, and when we decide that our connection matters to us, when we decide to connect with who we truly are, however we do it, first thing in the morning, I meditate on purpose because I want to be connected. I want to be feeling the energy so that I can have the good downloads come in of the questions that I've asked, and I could have synchronicities that I enjoy happening when I'm out in the world. And I just don't want to live a day because I've lived a lot of days before I have these awarenesses where I'm out in the world and I'm not connected. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm blaming, myself or others. I'm condemning. That's just the synchronicities that are going to reflect from that energy. We're not going to have a blissful day when we're in a frustrated energy all day. That's not a match. So we just have to be, if we're aware of this, then that can be, for me, that's by far the most important thing. It's connecting, going within, connecting with who I truly am, being that, embodying that, and then I'm okay with anything that happens in life from there, because it's all part of the flow of things that are evolving that eventually will be physically manifest. But for now, it's like we said, there's things that I'm doing right now where it's I may not figure out. For instance, I was supposed to meet up with someone today that I was excited to meet up with. And for whatever reason, it just fell through. It just didn't. It's not going to happen today with this human being. And I get curious. I'm like, what is now going to happen in that space of time that wasn't going to be able to because I was going to be connecting with this person? Now there's something else that's going to take its place, even if that's just me relaxing and doing some other stuff that I wouldn't have got a chance to do. So I wasn't always this way. And even for the split seconds when it first happened, because I was excited to meet with this human being, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. But then I got curious really quickly because I'm not giving my day away to something that there's other things at play. I want to know what these things are. Now I'm curious. So just a great reminder for all of us. I love it.
I love that. Curiosity. I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been such a fun conversation. You want to share with the audience anything that they can connect with you now on, or anything that you're offering right now that you want them to know about?
As I'm tuning in, I feel that people would also SoundCloud, where if you want to listen to the intentional DJ sets, it'd be helpful if you need to focus, or you just want to have a little dance party in your room or go for a walk. I'm going to put it in and just want you to share with me how you feel afterwards, because they are intentional. They have energy transmissions in them. So that's my gift to the listener. So I'll put that in. And again, listen to your own inner GPS. Always ask, what's my truth? What's my truth? And then go.
I love it. That will serve you for your entire human experience. What Baljit just said. Rewind and listen to that again, and I'm excited to listen to your DJ sets as well, because I just know the energy that you're putting into this conversation and you're putting into life, and obviously that's what you're putting into the music as well. So I know it's all going to be awesome, and you guys definitely connect with Baljit, because I know everything that she's creating, in this moment of now and every moment of now to follow is going to be infused with this energy you're feeling in this conversation, and you're going to be able to feel that, in that creation, just like we described with the music, and it can inspire you to participate with her, or it can inspire you to go create, whatever it is that you feel inspired to create. And either way, it's awesome to be around energy that, we're describing, to be around, to be the light, so that others can be reminded of the light that they truly are as well. So thank you for sharing that light with me in this conversation and with humanity and everything that you're doing. You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and especially during these times, it's important to really connect with us, because it increases the vibration. So whatever you do to really keep your vibration high, it's really important. I can't stress that enough, because it's your gifts are important. That's what's gonna help you, and what's gonna help humanity. So thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. What you described is another reason why I like to have these conversations, because that's what it does for me and my vibration, because it's a conversation I would want to have with you anyway. And for me, now that we have all this technology, it's like, I can't just have this conversation with Baljit, just me and her. We got to stream it in all these places, and we got to put it on Spotify and iTunes. It only seems right. Why would we have access to it, so why not? So thank you for, you guys share this episode. For those of you guys that are watching this live on the stream, it'll be here on IG. You guys can share it on your story for 24 hours and let more people benefit from this. And if you guys are watching this on Facebook, same thing. And it'll be out on iTunes. Give it some weeks. I record lots of these, so they come out in the order that I record them. But it'll be out soon. You guys will hear about it all. Go on there, leave a review and say that Baljit human, awesome. I learned this, this, and this, and I'll tag her, and it'll allow more people to find the episodes. And just thank you guys all, sending you guys all so much love, and looking forward to connecting with all of you guys in another moment of now. And until then, sending you guys so much love and positive vibes, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to end this on IG, Baljit, and I'll say bye to you over here on Zoom.
Done.
Boom. So much fun.
That was awesome.